and ooh, fuck inconveniences. I was almost at the end of my presentation and the internet completely disconnected and was like, we had to stop your live. We're sorry. Fuck that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So fuck fear. Fuck all of the obstacles and everything that gets in the way. Not really. Okay. So tonight's topic is fight or flight or fear or shit or friend. Now I'm knocked off my game. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that happened to me. 27 minutes and then just gone. Let me smell my lavender and reset. Oh my goodness. Fight or flight or friend. How to develop a healthier relationship to your fears, because fear can be a motherfucking monster sometimes. It can be a beast. It can seem like, you know, this big scary thing. And fear is a necessary component when it comes to manifesting, when it comes to self-transformation, when it comes to any type of evolution. Fear is going to come in, and our instinctual impulse is to do one or the other, to fight, to go through some type of resistance, you know, or to run away, to avoid it entirely, to suppress it, to hide from it. And what I'm presenting to you is another option where you get to actually come into an intimate understanding with fear. You know what I mean? You get to confront fear with sovereignty and develop a healthier relationship to your fears so that you have the confidence to go after your dreams and desires unapologetically. Because it's difficult for you to go after what you desire and what you dream when you allow fear to hold you back. Okay? That is the topic for tonight. Again. And let me officially introduce myself. My name is J Empress. I am the uniquely self-proclaimed sensual soul seer, aka the unapologetic sexy self-love coach. And sexy to me is when it's safe and easy for you to express yourselves, all of you, okay? And speaking of the sexy, I have a 5-week online program called the Sexy Self-Love Academy. It is for Black women, femme, and non-binary beings that wish to learn how to become more whole within themselves, holistically whole within themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And also how to have fucking fun, how to be more uninhibited, you know, with your sense of pleasure, how to ignore the naysayers that tell you you can't show up as this, you can't say this, you can't dress like this, you can't do X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? Including the critics that come from your own mind. No, fuck all of that. The purpose of the academy is to get you to a greater sense of clarity and confidence so that you can say, even with my own self, no, I am going to unapologetically go after what I desire and what I dream because I deserve to do so. So inside of the academy, you're going to learn how to be more holistically whole within yourself, and you're going to learn how to have uninhibited fun that does not, you know, is not contained by other people's perception or ideas of what you should do. Okay, so if you're interested in that, DM me with the phrase mask off, okay, because that is the theme for this series, this live discussion series that will be going on for the next couple of days. So the discussion series is all about how to get comfortable unmasking your authentic, unapologetic self. How to get comfortable unmasking your authentic, unapologetic self. Because we get comfortable wearing these masks. We get comfortable wearing these masks. We become very invested in the mask that we craft to go out into the world, you know. And I don't want you to take off the mask only to have, you know, all of these other layers underneath. And I want to stress, you know, that comfortability, because it can be very uncomfortable presenting your full self in front of folks. You know, you're very vulnerable. That's scary as fuck. You're showing your full self to strangers, you know what I mean? Or the people that, you know, you desire to have intimate relationships with. How to get comfortable with that. It's a process, you know what I mean? It's pretty much how to get comfortable how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that process is very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's very discomforting to now be raw and naked in these interactions with people. You know what I mean? However, it's very rewarding. You don't have to hide. You don't have to hide. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to contort and conform, you know what I mean, to be liked. No, you are liked just as you fucking are, as you present yourself to be, okay? So my job is to help you to become more comfortable with the uncomfortable, you know, because this process is uncomfortable. So tonight's topic of that whole thing, you know, getting uncomfortable, in the process of unmasking yourself, you know, to be more unapologetic, to be more unapologetically you're going to encounter fears, plural. You're going to encounter fear. And it would be better, it would behoove you to have a more amicable relationship with fear, as opposed to it being adversarial, because it makes it easier for you to develop the confidence that you need to pursue your desires and your dreams. Okay? So that was the background, the context. Let's get into it. Let me take a sip of my juice and pray that this time the internet will work for and with me. All right. So, fight or flight or friend. How to develop a healthier relationship to your fears so you can unapologetically pursue your desires. First step to befriending fear, you need to understand the difference between fear and fact, because fear is not fact, all right? I am very big on intentionality, and intentionality comes through with our words. How we understand, how we define things, how we understand their definitions, how we understand the concepts of words, the concepts and of words helps us, you know, apply these concepts. So it's very important that you make the distinction, that you understand that there is a distinction between fear and fact. Fear is not fact. So I went to the Googles them, and I don't know if it's Webster or Oxford or whatever, but the definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to provide emphasis for the things that you need to be aware of. So fear is defined as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threats. Fact is defined as a thing that is known or proven to be true. Something that actually exists. Again, fact is a thing that is known or proven to be true. Something that actually exists. So fear is a feeling. It is an emotion. It's a feeling. It's a state of consciousness or a reaction that is subject to change. It's an impulse that's providing you a sense of awareness that you're doing something, you know, you're engaging in something that seemingly threatens your sense of security, all right? But it's not permanent and it's not immutable, all right? So while your fears are valid, your feelings are valid, it's not certain or certifiable, okay? So for example, I've heard a lot of single sistren, including myself at one point in time, though I prefer the term self-partnered, say things like, I'm never going to find love, I'm going to be single forever, I'm going to die alone. Something around, you know, those three phrases come up, you know, a lot. I'm never going to find love, I'm going to be single forever, I'm going to die alone. Are those facts or are those feelings? I'm going to get into why those are feelings, those are fears. Fears are feelings, and not facts in a minute. But 2, so you understand the difference between fear and fact. When you have a fear, when you encounter fears, understand that they are feelings and they are valid, but they're not actual facts. And now that you know that they're not rooted in reality, they're not rooted in truth, I want you to understand that fear is not actually something to be afraid of, all right? Because you can choose to release and detach yourself from it. Okay, now that you know that it's not rooted in any actual reality, you know what I mean? This is just bringing your awareness to the possibility of something, you know, to the perception of something. I think that this thing is dangerous. Is it though? You know, now that you know that it's not actually rooted in truth, you can choose to release and detach yourself from it so that whatever thing you are fearful of, you're not actually afraid of it. Okay, how do you actually choose to release and detach yourself? How do you change your perception of fear so that it is not something that you are afraid of? Identify and demystify. Identify. Invite your fears in, you know, provide a safe space, provide a sanctuary for your fears. Invite them in, invite the awareness in, and name them. What are you actually afraid of? So for the example of, you know, I'm going to die alone. What was it? I'm never going to find love. I'm going to die alone. I'm going to be single forever. Like, what is the underlying, you know, fear? What is the underlying problem? Okay, so you want to name them, and then you want to dig a little bit deeper. What is the root? Another example. I used to be very, very fearful of public speaking. It's something that still gives me a little bit of discomfort. Matter of fact, yesterday I was very fearful, and I didn't realize until later, you know, how much it was like affecting my energy. I just knew that I felt off, you know. Now I've been a performer professionally almost a decade, but unprofessionally, that feels weird to say, but all my life pretty much. I've started as a singer, then a dancer, but as a poet, as a professional poet, I started about 9-10 years ago. And I was very afraid to, you know, share my stories and stuff on stage. It would be one of them things like, oh, I'm gonna die, you know, that type of thing when I get on stage. And I wasn't really afraid to share my stories because I actually wanted to do so. The fear was the vulnerability, you know, being that naked and that raw in front of strangers, you know. The fear was like being misunderstood, being rejected, you know, folks not really quite getting what I have to say. And I already felt, you know, misunderstood, which is why I retreated to poetry in the first place. So it's like, you know, now I'm being vulnerable. That's very scary. And this vulnerability might not be, you know, rewarded. It might not be shown any type of like acceptance. You know what I'm saying? That was the things that prevented me from the longest time. I have folks telling me like, I've always written poetry. That was always my first love, but I was way too afraid to, you know, showcase those talents publicly because of those things. So now that you've identified the fears, I've kind of already gotten to a little bit of the next point. Demystify. Identify, demystify. So you identified what these actual fears are and then also what the underlying root is. Demystify. Like I said, fear is a feeling and it's an awareness of something that is seemingly a threat to your sense of security. So it does have its, you know, its role, its purpose. But what is the probability of whatever thing you're afraid of actually occurring? You know, the awareness that fear provides, that this possibility, you know, this thing that, you know, it seems like a threat. It's a potential obstacle. Anything is possible. You know, this potential obstacle, anything is possible. But what's the likelihood of it happening? For example, with the whole public speaking, oh my God, I can't get on stage, I'm gonna die on stage. It's possible. It is absolutely possible. Anything is possible. But what is the probability that you're going to go on stage and actually just keel over and croak? Like, what is the probability of that? You know, I'm not even a math person, but I've always loved probability because it helps put things in perspective. Okay. I love the show This Is Us. I miss that show so much. The black couple, Randall and Beth, they used to do this exercise. So they had 3 daughters, and whenever their daughters used to get into any type of like trouble, especially like something crazy, before they would, and they didn't maybe know the entire scope of the problem. You know, they just knew like some bad shit was going down. Before they went and addressed it, they would have this little like game between themselves where I don't remember like what the title was, but it was pretty much like a worst case scenario type of thing. And they would think through like all of these things that they were fearful of, you know, oh, she's pregnant. Oh, you know, whatever. And they would one up each other. It was like a competition, you know, and by the end of it, like they were okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, okay, we've already discussed the hypotheticals of like what could happen and the likelihood of those things like happening, and now we feel more grounded and reassured to actually to actually problem solve, you know, the thing that seems to be very, very scary. So demystify, you know, what is the likelihood, the actual likelihood of this possibility coming to pass? Okay. Another example. Well, going back to the original example, the whole I'm never going to find love. I'm going to be single forever. I'm going to die alone. Never going to find love. I'm going to be single forever. I'm going to die alone. I hear so many folks say this, and I used to be one of those folks. And so for those people that are watching the replay, if this is you and this is how you think, please listen close and start to reframe this. So identify the fear. The fear isn't actually that I'm never going to find love. The fear is that I'm afraid that I won't align with my desired romantic partner to get married in this lifetime. I'm afraid that I won't align with my desired romantic partner to get married in this lifetime. I was afraid for the longest time to even admit, I wouldn't even give myself permission to admit that I wanted to get married. It wasn't until I was like 19, 20 that I started to, you know, say, oh, I actually, you know, want to get married, because I didn't have model for me. Oh, I don't like the way that like sounds, but I didn't have a healthy model of what marriage looked like, you know? And so for me, it didn't even seem like the realm of possibility for me, you know? So I completely rejected it, you know? I rejected it before it could reject me. And then I met someone that like, you know, planted that seed of like, like I can actually see this. Glad I ain't married him. But, you know, it opened up the possibility. And then that's when that fear snuck in. And it was like, this is why I didn't want it. This is why I didn't want to admit that I wanted it. Because now all of these other possibilities are coming in. You know, there's the possibility that it may not happen for me, you know. And so that's scary, you know. However, all of the other things, I'm never going to find love. I'm going to be single forever. I'm going to die alone. So if my actual fear is that I may not find a suitable partner to, you know, align in marriage in this lifetime, does that mean that all love is out of reach for me? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You got to be mindful of like what you say. I'm never going to find love. Does that mean no love never? No self-love, no community love, no friendship, kinship love, no companionship love. You're never going to be, you know, in any type of like romantic encounters with anybody ever, because, you know, marriage is off the table. Possibly, not even definitively, just a possibility. That doesn't make any sense, you know. Doesn't mean that I'll be single for the rest of my life. No. I can still find several someones if I desire to be in romantic companionship or couplehood with, if it doesn't lead to marriage. You know what I mean? So like, why would I say Why would I? Fear exaggerates. Fear exaggerates circumstances. Why would I say these things when it's like, that's not exactly true? You know, the whole, I'm going to die alone. Well, technically, we all die alone. But not aligning with my romantic partner doesn't rob me from love, even romantic love, surrounding me when it's my time to transition. You know what I mean? Again, I can be engaged in romantic, companionship and couplehood. Maybe I don't get married, but it doesn't mean that, when it's my time to transition, that I don't have someone that loves me romantically at my side, So now that I've thought through those things, is my actual fear more manageable? Is it something to really fear? My actual fear, again, is that maybe I won't find a suitable partner, someone that I find suitable, that I feel like matches my vibe and my intention, that I wish to build with in a marriage. So maybe that doesn't happen in this lifetime. That's disappointing. That's very sad. That's not what I want. However, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of my world. So is it something to really fear? It's just one possibility in the infinite possibilities, okay? So now that you've identified and demystified, to change the perception of fear, next you want to get into changing the belief that is causing the fear. Getting deeper, dig deep. Change the belief that is causing the fear. Watch your mouth, watch your mind. Watch your mouth, watch your mind. As I said earlier, intentionality is very important, and the words that we use and how we understand the words that we use and the concepts that we use goes into that intentionality. So be mindful and intentional of the thoughts that you think and the language that you use when you start to notice fear crop up, okay? And when you start to notice fear crop up, hey, beautiful. Hey, Jewel. Good to have you in the sanctuary. Glad that you're here. Thank you for joining. When you start to notice these fears crop up, envision and affirm. Like I said, fear is bringing to your attention the awareness of something that is seemingly a threat, something that is a possibility. It could be an obstacle that gets in your way, but it's not definitive. And it's one possibility in infinite. So envision and affirm. What is your desired outcome? What do you really want? Again, taking myself as an example, I want to be married. So I'm going to affirm, I'm going to envision that, I'm going to envision that. I'm going to make sure my thoughts are showcasing that. I'm going to talk like that, And I'm going to affirm that reality. Yes, a possibility that it may not happen in this lifetime. That's not the possibility that I'm going to focus on, Where your focus goes, your results. Where your focus goes, your focus and your results grow, okay? So don't spend your time thinking about the thing that got you all up in arms and, tense and anxious and shit. Nah, that's not what you want, okay? Thank you. I was feeling it's Friday, Venusian day. I was born on a Friday. I thought I looked gorgeous tonight. So I got all, all dolled up. Thank you so much. But when you affirm your reality, decide your self-fulfilling prophecy. This is why mentality is so important. Watch your mouth, watch your mind. Decide your self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? I like to call it the power of the yet. The power of the yet. If you're not conscious, you can manifest the very fears that don't yet exist. They don't exist. They're not rooted in any truth. Remember, fear is not fact. You can manifest the very fears that don't exist but could, because you subconsciously created and called them into being. If you're not conscious, if you're not careful, you can call into being the very thing that you don't want to happen and that doesn't exist yet. It's only a possibility, a mere possibility. If you are not cognizant of your thoughts and what you say, you can make that shit into a reality. Okay? So the power of the yet, positive yet mindset. Instead of, this is never going to happen for me. I'm never going to get married. blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. Never, ever, ever. It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. Okay? But it's coming. It's coming because you believe that it's coming, because you've already envisioned it and you are. But if you are allowing fear to drive you and you are, not cognizant of your mind, not cognizant of what you're saying, this is what could be your reality. The worst hasn't happened yet. The worst hasn't happened yet. No, cross that yet out. The worst hasn't happened. Period. Full stop. Because when you add that yet in that case, and that negative fear-based mindset, you are already conditioning yourself to expect the worst to happen. When you put that yet in a fear-based mindset, you are already conditioning your expectation. You are already conditioning your mindset to expect that to happen. So be very cognizant of that. When you use yet, when you use the power of the word yet, Y-E-T, it hasn't happened yet, versus something negative that you don't want to happen, you calling that into being. Okay? Only adopt the yets that affirm your vision and your desires. Allow fear to fuel you. Like I said, you want to have an amicable relationship to your fear, befriending the fear as opposed to running away or fighting it. You need to understand the difference between fear and fact. You need to define and understand the definition. Fear is not fact, okay? Fear is an unpleasant emotion that's caused by the belief that something or someone is dangerous and likely to cause pain or threat. It's not permanent. It's not immutable. It's not rooted in any truth, okay? These are just projections of possibilities, all right? Once you understand that, then you need to change your perception of fear, okay? And in order to change your perception of the fear, identify what it is that you're afraid of. Call that into your sanctuary. Provide a safe space and start to examine it and dig deep. Dig deep. What are you afraid of? And then debunk it, demystify it. What is the probability of whatever it is that you're afraid of actually coming into reality? And as you do that, be very mindful of your thoughts and of your words, all right? Because they reinforce one another and they also co-create your reality. So adopt the yets that affirm your vision and desire. We don't call into being the yets that reinforce that fear-based thinking. All right. And then you want to think your fears. All right. Thank your fears for their awareness and insight, because they are providing you information. It is giving you awareness of these possibilities that could happen. It's just a lot of the times they're exaggerated. It's not, like I said, it's projections. It's something that you want to be mindful of, but you don't want to put your whole attention and focus on. Okay. So that brings me to my last point. Put fear in its proper context. All right. Like I said, fear serves its purpose. It has a role. We do want it to come along because it tells us when we're on the right path. Anytime you do something that is unfamiliar, transformation is unfamiliar. When you are trying to go from one level to the next, that next level is unfamiliar as fuck. You don't know what's up there. You don't know what's up there. You hope that it's good. You want to believe that it's good, but you don't know. And matter of fact, it ain't even what's up there just yet. It's what you got to go through to get to that point. You have no idea. You don't know what's up there, but you don't know what you got to go through to get to the point that you're trying to be. All of that is scary, So fear is supposed to, it give you an indication that you're on a path that's unfamiliar. You're on a path, of progression. So it's supposed to be there. But put it in its proper context. Which is bigger? Your fear or your faith? Which is bigger? Your fear or your faith? Whatever entity or power you feed will grow. So like I said, fear, it can be a beast. But we can tame that beast. We can tame that beast. You know what I'm saying? We can make it, you know, one of them like cute little puppies, and it's like, oh, you know, like I said, when you invited it in and you named it and you demystified it and you thanked it, like you could kind of create, like, now your fears are manageable. You're like, oh, they're there, you know, you all bark, no bite, you know. So don't feed the beast, feed your faith, feed the affirmation of where you're trying to go. If you ascribe to a higher power and you believe in the magic of the universe, what place does fear have in your life? You know, how big should fear be in your life compared to the power of spirit and divine intelligence? What do you wish to increase your capacity to hold? You know, do you want to hold more fear, or do you want to hold more faith? Put fear in its proper context. It is not supposed to be driving you to your destination. It needs to be in the back seat, and it needs to be, you know, I heard you. Thank you for your insight. All right, I got this. I'm driving. Or I'm the passenger because the divine is driving. Okay? That's it. That's it. So quick little recap to the recap, because I kind of just gave a little recap, but real quick. We're talking about fight or flight or friend, you know. Fight, put up the dukes. Resistance, I'm not finna, you know, I'm finna go back and forth, or I'm not finna go back and forth. All of that resistance, that's fight. Flight, I'm boogieing on out of here, you know, I'm gonna hide, I'm gonna suppress myself. You don't have to do either one. You can actually befriend your fears. You can come into a deeper, more compassionate understanding with your fears. How do you do so? Understanding what fear actually is. Understanding the fact that fear is not fact. Understanding the difference between the two, okay? And now that you understand that fear is not fact, that it is a feeling, and as a feeling it does have validity, but that validity is not certifiable, now you want to change your perception of fear. Change your perception of fear, and to do so, identify what those fears are, dig deep, demystify those fears, debunk those fears, you know, really like shred them apart. Okay, and then once you do so, and you could do so with love, of course. Once you do so, thank your fears for the awareness and insight. This is a nice little exchange, because you're, like I said, you're inviting your fears in. You're inviting your fears in, and then you're being like, wait, that's not true. Wait, I don't think that's true either. No. And then once you do that, you find that your fears are a lot more how you want your capacity to be increased. You want your capacity to increase to hold more faith, or you want to hold more fear? I would say more faith. Okay? Okay. Yay! All right, I got through this live. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I'm J Empress, the uniquely self-proclaimed sensual soul seer, aka the sexy, unapologetic self-love coach. And sexy to me is when it's safe and easy for you to express yourselves. I have a sexy self-love academy, 5 weeks of so much sexy fun where you will learn how to safely express all of yourselves so that you can become more holistically whole within your skin and have uninhibited fucking fun. Go after what you want, go after your desires, identify what you want. First off, identify what you want, identify your dreams and desires, and have the confidence and clarity to go after them without, worrying about any naysayers, anything, any insecurity, whatever. That is the whole purpose. If you want to know more, come find me, girl. DM me, mask off. All right. And tomorrow we will be continuing with this series of how to become uncomfortable, unmasking your authentic, unapologetic self. Tomorrow's topic is how to discover, talking about desires, how to discover and embody your own Sasha Fierce. Ooh, I'm excited about tomorrow. How to discover and embody your own Sasha Fierce. All right. So come back tomorrow at 5:55 p.m. Central Time. See you there. Peace.